Hello and welcome to the first of 4 installments of the Management Seminars for Healthcare Leaders. I'm John Criswell, your moderator. Joining me today to help explain what the 5 essential strategies are for the new millennium is Nathan Kaufman, Senior Vice President of Superior Consulting Company, Incorporated. Nathan, thanks for being here.
Pleasure to be here, John.
Nathan is a nationally renowned expert, noted lecturer and author in the areas of physician transactions, integrated delivery systems, managed care, medical group consulting services, and managed radiology services. Nathan, how would you describe the management challenge facing hospitals today?
John, hospitals are getting hit from every angle. If you look at a hospital and its management challenges, which is on the first graphic, what you see is that hospitals are faced with Y2K issues, and Y2K has really accentuated the issue of information technology in general. They've spent millions of dollars and things don't work, things aren't connected right, they have to constantly be being upgraded, and so we see hospitals reevaluating their whole IT strategy. Then there's the Balanced Budget Act. The Congress wanted to take about $80 billion out of the Medicare funds, and they implemented the Balanced Budget Act, which resulted in $190 billion. Whoops. Well, now they're willing to give about $8 billion back, but the bottom line is hospitals that used to have a 4% profit margin are now basically breaking even. The third issue is really the issue of employment and shortages. There's a nursing shortage right now, and if you're too hard on your employees, you're going to find your staff getting unionized. Recently, a hospital that we work with settled with their nursing union, and they ended up with a 20% increase in nurses' salaries over the next 5 years. And we know that Medicare and commercial insurance isn't going to cover that. And finally, the most important area is really disintegration. What has happened is all of the strategies that we implemented, or many of them, in the first half of the decade relating to integrating with our physicians, they're just not working. In many cases, they're almost bankrupting hospitals. And hospitals are in the process of unwinding a lot of the strategies that they had implemented early on.
I suddenly have an Excedrin headache, as probably do a lot of hospital administrators.
Probably all hospital administrators.
We have a caller on the line. John, tell us what city you're calling from, please, and your question.
I'm calling from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And my question is, if the hospital is dominant in its market and is dealing with a payer who has the same level of dominance, if not higher, what appropriate negotiating strategies should the hospital adopt?
The first strategy you need to adopt is try to work with the payer and say to the payer, look, you know, we want to work with you. We want to each take our fair share. Do you want to form some sort of joint venture where we would be your exclusive provider? We would get a % of premium. Those types of issues. Unfortunately, when you have a dominant payer, most of those payers are going to want to take a disproportionate share off of the top, which is probably the case in your market. In that case, the only way to deal with a dominant payer is with force. That is to say to the payer, here's the deal. If you don't like it, don't use us. And the payer will make an attempt to do that. And again, this takes a lot of guts, but I'd be happy to, if you call me at my office, refer you to some large institutions that have done it. The payers tend to come back, and if they don't come back, you still get a lot of that business. The other thing that will happen is your physicians will get upset with you if you turn down the payer, because the physicians will say, I have this contract, I don't want to go to the other hospital. We can't solve all these problems. All we can do is protect the bottom line of our hospital. If you are a dominant provider, you're going to have to be pretty tough with the payer. And again, the recent evidence is pretty good that if you play pretty hard and you don't demand an unreasonable price, that the payer will eventually come back. But
it's a significant game of chicken, isn't it?
It is. That's exactly right. Versus roll over and play dead. Because the question is, if that dominant payer isn't willing to pay you fair today, what are they going to pay you tomorrow and next week? And when are you going to start playing chicken with them? And my feeling is, you know, there's no better time than now.
I don't want to presume John's case in Pittsburgh, but just guessing and projecting, I would say that perhaps in his situation he has said to the payer, not interested at that level, go away. And now a little time has passed and he's waiting, well, are they really going to come back? Are they really going to come back? Is there a kind of a time frame there that you've seen historically? When might you expect for that payer to come back to you and say, well, let's talk some more?
Well, there's 2 or 3 times. We've seen one time when a dominant provider announced to all the brokers in the market they weren't going to participate in that health plan, and the brokers got on the health plan to get that provider in. That was one time. Another time was when the payer just said, well, we can't sell premium. The employers won't accept premium without it. And the third time is, and this is the hard one, but it happens, when all of a sudden 40% of the patients that weren't allowed to go to your hospital because you didn't sign a contract end up in your emergency room, and you're charging them retail rates, and all of a sudden that payer realizes that it would be cheaper to give you your rates that you want in the first place than to get retail bills from you. So it's a tough situation, but we see no alternative, and I can assure you that you could buy all the physicians, maybe you have, in Pittsburgh, or you could do all of the risk contracting stuff you could do. It's not going to change the fact that until you play chicken with that payer,